Hello everybody and good Monday morning. How have you been? Um, it's been a while since I uploaded and I apologize for that. Today's video is a bit longer. I don't have any funny stories or art education to share with you. Originally I wanted to do a flashback Friday kind of video where I would talk about my life and such, but I don't really feel like that's me. Instead, I'll be asking you guys something, and I hope you'll indulge me. In the comment section, can you leave a horror story, like a creepypasta or a no sleep Reddit post kind of thing, that you'd like me to read during these videos? As long as it clears YouTube's terms of service, I'll give it my best shot. I love horror, and I have been wanting to beef up my public speaking chops. Thank you in advance. On to today's video. I'm going to be talking about my process and my thoughts while making this piece. As you can see, I'm drawing the current main cast of Stars Burn Out. I don't remember if I said it before, but I am trying my hardest to draw more SBO art and put it up for folks to see. This expression meme is from Cappuccino. My girlfriend sent it to me, so shout out to her for covering my ass once again. I really liked the expressions on this chart, so I didn't feel too bad going into this. I knew there were a few characters that would fit each expression perfectly, but I opted to put each character into their own wheel of names and select each one that way. Each becoming a rather funny observation of how each character would react to an annoyance. I very rarely work in order, so you'll see me bounce back and forth between characters. Let's talk about some hurdles I faced with this project as a whole, aside from the fact that it took me 4 months to make. That's right, I started this in January. At the time I started recording this, I was elbow deep in commissions. I don't have a ton of room to move around and work, so I had to plan something to make my desk efficient for me and how my creative process flowed. This meant I had to sit my massive 24-inch, 60.9 centimeter display tablet at an absolutely horrid angle on my desk. This angle was rancid for so many reasons, the main one being that I had to fold into a pretzel to simply use the damn thing to begin with. While I had room on my desk to work on traditional commissions now, I had basically none to work digitally. Another hurdle that I experienced was a weird vibe with doing the line art. Like I wasn't sure of myself, and with each stroke something felt more and more off. Turns out it was because I hadn't been doing digital art for about 2 weeks, and every piece I would attempt had the same result. But, as balance always does, I found a way to work on both efficiently. I moved my tablet, and now I have a fun setup that works for all of my things: gaming, art, mailing, crafting, writing. My desk is better than ever now. Sketching these was a lot of fun. I always prefer sketching, but I found a structure for it to feel as good as inking and coloring do. I don't want to take up too much time chattering about the technical stuff, so how about I tell you guys about the characters? I'll start with our main boy, Prince Riker Lockhart. Riker is one of my oldest OCs, though I guess that's a bit of a stretch considering he used to be a persona. He is 5'10", which is 177.8 centimeters, a trans man, and the youngest prince of the kingdoms Terasi and Luluka. Oh, my bad. Iluka. Riker is an interesting combination of the joys of softness in his own masculinity and pretty common interests. He loves K-pop and softer street fashion, but is also deeply devoted to his sports, which are swimming and ballroom dance. Though pretty stoic in the beginning of the comic, Riker learns to come out of his shell and express his emotions. Simply in the first chapter, he's emoted and expressed more than I've ever imagined him to. This was a big change for me since I'd always planned for him to be a bit more closed off. I love the way characters take out their own spring of personality as you write them. Next up is our best friend, Zero Yagami. At the moment, Zero is not present in the story again, but he played a huge role in previous chapters. He has been friends with Riker for nearly their whole life, only being a year or two older than him. Zero is a more composed and emotionally mature thinker compared to the others in his age group. He enjoys casual reading and spending time around people. He can be pretty stubborn, but that comes with the territory of his species. If I could say anything about Zero, it's that he's dedicated. Not to anything in specific, but to many things at once. He's the kind of person that no matter the circumstance, he'll remain faithful to his word. Alex Clovern. Alex is a character that I did not expect to like, even though I was the one writing him. He turned out to be such a fun, goofy, happy-go-lucky entity in Riker's life that you can't help but see him in a deeper, more vibrant light. He wants to help, but his natural pull towards chaos makes his help more confusing than anything. He spent his entire life in Terasi, just past the Blackened Wood, and now he's ready to go on an adventure. Alex is very intrigued by human hip-hop culture and loves breakdance. Not that he knows much about it outside of some of the information he'd heard in passing. I don't think I did anything different than my usual process. I, for sure, see my cell shading process in a different light since doing the commissions. I wonder if I'd be able to feel the same about doing a background challenge / process similar to that experience. Even though it took me a long time, I don't regret it. I love each and every piece that I worked on, and to be honest, I'm not going to go into crazy detail about that right now. I'll make an entire video about it later. Back to finishing up these pieces. Like I said before, I want to draw more SBO related stuff. I know that a lot of people are starting to read it more, and I appreciate that so much. I wonder if there are others drawing art of SBO that I don't know about just yet. I think I'll set up a small portfolio style page for SBO. This way, anyone that wants to view these illustrations, or even the character sheets, can without hassle. I assumed that this video was going to be shorter than it was, so the script is a lot shorter. I will just go ahead and talk over the video like I normally would without a script. So, I for sure need to talk about the other 4 characters. So let's start with Marnie. Marnie is she's hilarious to me. She is a mouse creature. I don't have an exact name for that race or species, but she is like just a mouse. But she's also a mouse in the same sense that a fox is a fox, if that makes sense. So she's very trickstery. She likes to run people around and just kind of exist in a nebulous kind of way. Like, she doesn't bully or attack anybody. She just is kind of tricky. So she also acts as the story's prophet, where she is receiving visions from the gods and fully just aware of everything going on in the entire nation, in the entire world, actually. She is fully blind, unrelated to her ability as a prophet. She's just blind. And she has a very close relationship with Rizma, who is the next character I will talk about. Rizma is... You know how in some stories there's always a triad? So there's always a group of 3 kids that knew each other from the time that they were like toddling around all the way up into adulthood. Rizma's the 3rd member of the group with Riker and Zero. Her backstory is a little heartbreaking, but not in the not in the same sense as, like, how do I say this? Her backstory is heartbreaking without being completely overwhelming to her as a whole. So she is what is called a Versat. That is the name of the species. They are insectoid, and they have no visible facial features except some, I would say actually most. You can see their lips, which is something that they adapted so that they could communicate with other species. She is a top tier assassin, and the knight for Tarasi, the head knight for Tarasi. While she is treated like a child of the Lockhart family, she chooses to be in a position of like servitude, I guess you could say. Oh, we're at the halfway mark. Okay. Next up is Vlasic, the one that I'm lining right now. He is a mystery to most kingdoms. And he is the only son of the Duchess of a nation that you guys don't know about yet. She's not present just yet. But he is the only son, and his job, if you read SBO before the revival, his one job was to recover the prince, bring him back to the Duchess, and he got overzealous. He is one of those people that's like, I have a goal, I'm going to accomplish the goal, I don't give a fuck about anything else. Not very healthy. He does it in a very toxic way. There we go. On the other side of the spectrum, Zero's brother, Kiryu, and Vlasic's partner, he's very lax. Again, he is the head knight for the kingdom that they come from. But as opposed to Zero's dedication, Kiryu is a very whatever happens, happens kind of guy. He doesn't necessarily jump at like the opportunity to like put himself in a position of danger, if that makes sense. He is a phenomenal knight, and that's why he holds the head knight position. But if it were up to him, he'd just be like, hands off. Complete hands off. Who else is left? We did Alex, we did Zero, we did Riker, we did Vlasic, Kiryu, Marnie, Rizma, Adonis. Adonis is one of the Lockhart fathers. He is the current standing ruler of Terasi, and he is, in one word, a firecracker. When he was younger, he didn't have a lot of control over his magical abilities, and all it took for him to really go off was one minor inconvenience. Obviously, things changed. He had kids, and he learned to control his powers. But some of that old personality comes through. He is constantly worried about Riker. His other kids are all adults, like a few years older than Riker. Riker's an adult, but he's like 18, 19. So you have these adult children and this one kid that just became an adult, and he is terrified. And that's just paternal instinct, I guess. He's utterly terrified that something bad is gonna happen, or that Riker won't be able to achieve the goals that he puts forth, or even that the gods will like do something to him because he's not living up to their expectations. He's a very doting, very anxious father. I think the last one is Azubiki. And he is the balancing force. I know that's like a weird way to phrase it, but he genuinely balances out Adonis's fiery nature. Oops, sorry. He is he's just as anxious as Adonis, but because of the responsibilities that were put on him as like a young man, he is able to like rationalize. That's why I think these expressions are so good for Adonis and Azubiki, who, if you have a hard time pronouncing it, you can just call him Azu. That's perfectly fine. But that's why I think these expressions are perfect for both of them. Because Adonis has this very say one more thing and I will absolutely lose it expression, whereas Azu is fully having a crisis, having a meltdown. Not okay. Not gonna be okay. But in the comic, you'll see it happen. They truly balance each other out. And even though they don't agree on everything altogether, they are very much on the same page with a lot of this stuff going on. Even though verbally it doesn't seem that way. Like, they don't say it, they don't, they're not chomping at the bit like, oh yes, dear, you're absolutely fine, you're absolutely correct, that kind of stuff. No, they argue about it, pause, and then say, oh wait, hold on. And that's just kind of how their relationship has always been. Where they love each other deeply, but they are I think of it like they are in a kayak trying to get somewhere, but they're arguing about which direction to go, even though they both want to go in the same direction. It's very much one of those things. Watching this actually reminds me that I have to make a new character sheet for Azu. His design changed, which is fine. It's not a bad thing. It's different. Oh, here you can see I pulled up a lighting reference. I've been having such a hard time trying to, how do I explain this? Lighting fucking sucks. I have books, and I read the books, and I still don't understand it. So, I am gonna have to study more, but overall, I just wanted to take the time and just kind of, you know, get acclimated and learn myself some stuff. As you can see, each one, as I'm coloring them, each one is different. In the last few minutes, you'll see, because I actually sat down and colored them straight through instead of a bunch of sessions like the other parts. So yeah, each one has different lighting, different shading, just as a little bit of practice for my lighting and shading and stuff. I also noted that Zero and I want to say Rizma, but it might not be Rizma. Oh, hold on a second. Excuse me. Zero and another character whose hairline is exposed. I decided to mix their skin tone into that hairline area so that it kind of looks like it's a little bit thinner. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but I thought it was just a neat little thing, a little difference to, show that their hair is a little bit thinner by the root. Yeah, it is Rizma. I also have to update Rizma's character sheet. Dang. Oh well. Anyway, I'm excited to move forward with more SBO. I really love making the comic. I've been making it for 16 years? I started it in 2007. I'm not doing the math right now, but I started it in 2007. And I have loved it, hated it, wanted it gone, wanted it back. Just various states of being with with this project. It's fully written, not fully written, but fully thought out, by the way. So anyway, we're at the last minute. I'm sad to go, but I have to. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great week. I will see you again on Friday with another video. I'm gonna try to upload at least twice a week, maybe. But anyway, much love, and I'll see you later. Remember, leave comments, like, and subscribe. Do all the things. Click all the buttons.